So every now and then in life, you come across a complete game changer. And most recently for me, that's been the under-desk treadmill. Ever since isolation hit the UK and we've been bound to our home office, the under-desk treadmill has given me so many benefits. And the purpose of this video today is to explain exactly what I've experienced using it, why it's a worthwhile investment, and if you carry on right to the end, you'll see the exact brand that I recommend after hours of research. Now, before we kick off, I am a ridiculously small YouTuber, so even if you just find a segment of this video to be valuable, I really encourage you to drop a like and subscribe to help the YouTube algorithms actually begin showing my content so I can continue making videos for those who are interested in living a high performance lifestyle. So let's kick off. Okay, so this started in late March 2020 when the quarantine hit the UK in full force. Now, over the course of this month, from about March to April, three big problems began to pop up in my life. The first and most obvious was the lack of social interaction, which we all had to suffer. Yet the second was the fact that my average daily step count had dropped from about 13,000 steps to 7,000 steps. And what I was noticing as I was gaining unnecessary weight and my overall energy levels per day to day were beginning to drop and become a lot more lethargic. The third problem was that because I was using my desk all day and would spend little time stretching and moving around, I began to develop a few postural problems. In particular, my neck really started beginning to hurt. And whenever I go to bed, I would actually notice that my neck pain would keep me awake at night. Now, it doesn't take a genius to realize that a lack of exercise and poor posture completely result in a whole ailment of symptoms, like a greater risk of injury, a decrease in life expectancy, and just an overall increase in stress. So it became quite clear that something needed to change. And three questions began to surface around in my head about how this could happen. How could I continue to be as active as I was commuting to and from work? How can I do this in a way that doesn't distract or take away from my already demanding job? How can I fix the postural problems I'm having from having to be hunched over all day working at a desk? After a little bit of research, I began to see something called an under-desk treadmill. It's the first time that I heard of it. So I started to browse and look for one that would be relatively inexpensive, quiet so it wouldn't disturb my calls, and something that I could just put away and not have to take up my whole office. And that's exactly what I found. So on May the 14th, I made my order and was to have it delivered a month later so that I could begin my experiment of trying out this new tech. When June the 14th arrived, I got a knock on the door and a massive cardboard box came. It was a big, heavy rectangle that I put in my office and quite neatly fitted under my standing desk. I stripped it open, plugged it in, and it was pretty much ready to go. So on day one, I noticed that my walking treadmill needed a bit of adjustment. As I was trying to work and trying to walk, I was losing my balance a little bit, and as I was trying to type, my fingers were slipping all over the place. Yeah, I figured this is something that I could stick with. And already on day one, I had a long sales forecast meeting, which isn't the funnest thing in the world. And I had already noticed that during that 60 minutes, I managed to walk 2 miles, which was pretty impressive and would actually take a lot of time out of my work if I was to do it without the treadmill. So let's see what happens. The end of month one arrives. I've used my treadmill for 30 days at this point, and I feel pretty damn good. Already, I'm noticing that I can type on my keyboard a lot better than I could at the first time. I no longer feel off balance while using it. And I'm beginning to notice that my average step count has gone from 6,000 steps a day to about 13,000, the highest I've ever done. Naturally, I started to lose lots of weight. I started to get a little bit leaner as well, that I could see in my face and around my stomach area. And my energy levels started to feel a lot more picked up and sprightly than previously before. But I noticed that I wanted to do this a bit longer before I could give a thorough review. Fast forward to today, 3 months later. After first purchasing my under-desk treadmill, I was a little bit on the ice. I didn't know whether it would be a good investment, and the big price tag put me off it a little bit. But after 3 months of use, I can safely say it's been one of the best investments I've made. I completely shredded off all of that quarantine weight gain that I had. My posture problems started to resolve themselves after about month one. I stood a lot straighter, and my neck problems before I went to sleep completely disappeared. But But I noticed some like completely unexpected benefits as well. My overall stress in work that might have happened due to a poor client call or maybe not getting through to the right customer began to just dissipate and disappear when I was on the treadmill. I would just crank up the speed even faster and, you know, almost walk through the stress and frustration. And I felt a lot calmer and a lot more centered when I go back to my work. Furthermore, I started to notice my productivity really improve as well. Similar to how you take a walk if you've worked too hard. Walking while you're working has a beautiful ability to really kind of stimulate and move your mental gears. It's almost quite difficult to explain if you don't try it. Now for some negatives of the under-desk treadmill. Of course, the first one is the sense that typing is quite tough. Granted, you do get used to it after about a month, but I would never say do the majority of your written content while using it, because you will be missing a key or two and it'll just be a lot harder. The second one I would say is the noise can be a tiny bit of a problem. So in my experience, I reserved it for non-important internal calls or when I was just doing work that didn't necessarily involve me being on a call. Yes, granted, it's just a low hum, but if you're speaking to an important client, they may think that construction noise is happening in the background. And then third, the walking under desk treadmill isn't the cheapest thing in the world. I think off Amazon it cost me about £320, and I paired it with my standing desk that I already had, which was about £200. So in total it came to about £520. But in my defense, I don't think you should ever put a monetary figure when it comes to your health and well-being, and that alone has completely justified the investment as one of the best ones I've ever made. So finally, what brand did I go for? So I've done a lot of research to find what would be the quietest, the most cost-effective, and the one that would just conveniently fit in my office space. And a lot of reviews pointed towards the City Sport off of Amazon. As already said, it cost me about £320. It was super easy to set up, and its maintenance is about maybe a few squirts of this gel that you get with it, like once a month. It's super easy. And even though I've got no affiliates with these guys, I would honestly recommend this treadmill. It's really, really good. I've included a link down in the description. So thank you for listening, guys. I really hope that this video was useful for you. As you can tell, I'm a massive fan of the under-desk treadmill. It helped me to actually get really lean, to get even better and more productive at work, and it helped to alleviate the posture problems that I had from being at my desk all day. Not to mention that the walking treadmill isn't just for work. I actually bang it out all the time when I'm on things like Netflix or just doing anything that requires me to simply watch and listen. You can just have it on in the background and you barely even notice you're exercising. It feels like a real life cheat code. So if you enjoyed the video, please drop it a like, subscribe, and I will catch you on the next one to offer more advice about how to live a high performance lifestyle. Cheers.